And I'm going to start your lecture. Okay. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all again in my class. I hope all of you are doing well and good. Alhamdulillah. So, students, what we are going to learn today? Again, we are not going to study any new topic today because of your monthly test. As you know, your monthly tests are going on, so that's why we will do the reinforcement of biology. That is a topic that are coming in your monthly test. Okay, so as you know, this is your science class, and we are going to review the topics that are coming in your monthly test. And overall, this is your lecture number 12. And again, I'm going to introduce myself. I am your I am your science teacher, Miss Falak Naz. Okay, so let's check it out what we are going to review today. Obviously, review of chapter number 3, classification of living organism. This is a topic that we are going to review today, and this is a topic that is coming in your monthly test. So for you have to consult your book as well as your copy for this chapter, okay, for this monthly test. Okay, so what we are going to review today, obviously the definition of taxonomy, then aims of classification, basis of classification, units of classification, and binomial nomenclature, and as well as major groups of living organisms. So these are the topic that we are going to review today. I'm not going to going into very much detail. I'm just going to review or give you the overview of these topics. And if you want to go in depth, so you will watch your previous lectures again. Okay. So let's start from the number one, that is taxonomy. Okay, why taxonomy and classification of living organisms means what? Beta means classification means to arrange something in classes or categories according to shared qualities or characteristics. Okay, what does classification mean? Classification means to arrange something in classes or categories according to shared characteristics, or you can say qualities, and it is a human instinct to organize various objects into sets. Okay, now, so what biologists did, biologists, instead of dealing with millions of different organisms, you know, on earth there are different types of living organisms. So instead of dealing all those different living organisms, they classify all the living organisms into some major groups according to their similar characteristics. Okay, according to their similar characteristics, they classified them into groups. Okay, based on their similar characteristics. So basically, what is taxonomy? It is a scientific study that deals with the classification of living organism. Okay, what it is? It is the scientific study, okay, that deals with the classification of living organism. Means how will you classify the living organism? What are the laws, what are the principles, what are the rules and regulations that you are going to follow to classify your living organism? So for this there is a separate branch of science with the name taxonomy. Okay, so what are the aims of classification? Means why you are classify the object. What is the aim? Means purpose of classification, why you are going to classify anything. Okay, the question arises here, what are the aims and what do you want to classify, what do you want to classify in living organism? So number one, description. Okay, description, that to describe the living organism. Okay, description means you have to describe your living organism. So what does it mean, describe the living organism? Means you will tell us what something is looks like, or to give a mental image of something you have experienced. Okay, description means you will describe the living organism. Means how will you appear, and how it looks like, and you will give a mental image of something that you experience. Then identification means how will you identify the living organism, on what characteristics, what are the terms, what are the classes. Means how will you identify a giving organism. Okay, then classification and naming of organisms according to structural similarities and dissimilarities. So these are the aims of classification. Means you have to describe what do you want, why you want to classify the living organism, to give the description of the giving organism, to how to identify that organism, how to classify that organism, and how will you give the name of organism according to their structural similarities. Now the question is, what is structural similarities mean? Structural similarities means an arrangement or organization of parts to form an organ, system, or living thing. Means just suppose you have organ, so what is the shape of organ? different, like just suppose heart, the human heart is different, animal heart, sorry, fish heart is different, or you can say heart of cow and other animals are different. So these obviously the hearts that are same, just suppose the human hearts are same, so obviously they are the human, or human, they will considered as the human one. So obviously structural similarities means arrangement and organization of parts to form an organ system or living thing. So aims of classification is to describe, identify, classify and give the names of organism according to their similarities and dissimilarities. Okay, then basis of classification means why you classify organism. As you know, all the living organisms placed in a particular groups have many fundamental similarities in their structures. Okay, as you know, what they have fundamental similarities, but it is not easy to recognize the basic similarities. Okay, so if you want to classify any living organism, so what you will consider, so you will consider them according to their structural similarities, and I have explained it earlier. What does structural similarities mean? If how their parts are formed, just suppose arrangement of different parts in an organ, in a system, so that will be the structural similarities, means the shape of their heart, the shape of their living sorry liver, how their blood circulatory system work, how their digestive system works. So these are the structural similarities. So you will classify the living organism on the basis of their structural similarities. Then apart from these structural similarities, many bases and techniques are used to classify organisms, but principally the homologous structures. Okay, homologous structures that one considered. Okay, the homologous structure, principally the homologous structure than what considered in grouping organisms. So what are homologous structure? That are similar because of their common origin. Okay, means where from where they originated. If their origin is common, origin means from where they originated, वो कहाँ से आए हैं. Okay, so that will be the homologous. Homo means same. Okay, so we will classify the living organism on the basis of their structural similarities as well as on their homologous structural basis. If we talk about bacteria, so bacteria, what have bacteria have a bacteria is a single celled organism. So how will you classify it? So what you will do in case of bacteria, you will consider the chemical substances. Okay, you will consider the chemical substances in case of bacteria, and obviously the cytological structures as well. Cytological means cell. Cyto means cell, the study of cell. Okay, cytological means study of cell. So cytological structures means you will consider their cell structure. Obviously the cell of amoeba is different from the cell of chlamydomonas. The cell of amoeba is different from the cell of euglena. So if there are unicellular organisms, so you will classify them on the basis of their cell, that is called cytological structure. As well as if you talk about bacteria, so we will classify them according to their chemical substances, mean inside the body, inside the cell, what type of chemicals are present. So these are the different bases to classify any organism. Next is units of classification. What is unit? Unit means a single thing. Just suppose if you talk about the building, so what is the single unit of, what is the basic unit of building? Obviously it is a block, or you can say a brick that is made upon which your whole building is made up of. Okay, na? So similarly, what is the units of classification? So the unit of classification is a species. So what is a species? A species is a group of organisms. Okay, a species is a group of organisms which have numerous physical features in common. Mean, if we talk about a species, so a species have approximately all the physical features that must be common and which are normally capable of interbreeding and producing fertile offspring. Okay, interbreeding means what? Interbreeding refers to reproduction or with another species. Okay, reproduction with another species. Okay, so those organisms which can interbreed with each other and then they will produce their fertile offspring, so that will be considered as a species. Just suppose if we talk about human being, so human being is the single species because they can interbreed with each other, they have so many similar characteristics, as well as they can produce their fertile offspring. If we talk about cat, the cat is single species. If we talk about dog, the dog is another species. Okay, although they all are human, cat and dog, they all are kingdom, belong to kingdom animalia, but they are different species of. Okay, So the basic unit of classification is species. Now next is hierarchy of biological classification. So what is the hierarchy of biological classification? This one means you will start from the species. Okay, you will start from the species. Similar species group together into genus. Okay, similar type of species will group together into genus. Similar genus are grouped together into family. Similar type of family group together into order. Similar order group together into class, class into phylum, and phylum into kingdom. Means we will start from there here, and you have to keep it in your mind that from where to where. Means species to genus, genus to family, family to order, order to class, class to phylum, and phylum to kingdom. So kingdom is the major group. Okay, kingdom is the major group in which most of the living organisms are present, and species is the smaller group in which only those living organisms are present which are capable of interbreeding. Okay, so now binomial nomenclature. Okay, now what is binomial nomenclature? C. Linnaeus adopted this system for naming living organisms. Okay, what I told you that what is the aims of classification? Aim of classification is to describe, is to identify and give the name as well. So how will you give the name of any species? So C. Linnaeus was one who developed a method, who developed a system upon which you can give species its name. Okay, so according to this system, he gave scientific name. Okay, C. Linnaeus gave scientific name. What is the difference between common name and scientific name? Common name is cat, dog, human beings, and like different types of flowers, sunflower, mustard plant. So these are the common name. But in science, every species have a specific name. So C. Linnaeus gave scientific name to each species comprising of two words. Okay, the scientific name basically comprise of two words. Okay, if we talk about the first word refers to genus. Okay, first word refers to genus. Genus means what? You know what is genus? Hmm? This one. This is. Okay, so the first name is referred to the genus, and is called generic name. Okay, the first word refers to genus and it is called generic name, and it always starts with capital letter. It is must. Okay, when you are going to write any scientific name, so please keep it in your mind that first name is always your genus name, and it always starts with capital letter. And if we talk about the second word, obviously it is comprising of two words now. So the second word is species name and begins with a small letter. Now look at here. This is genus name, the first name with the genus and the second name with the species. So genus name will start with capital letter and species name will start with small letter. Okay. So this is the C. Linnaeus system for naming living organisms. Now let's take some examples here. Just suppose you have Brassica campestris. Okay, Brassica campestris for Brassica plant. Brassica is a mustard plant. Okay, so basically it is a common name and the scientific name for Brassica is Brassica campestris. This is a scientific name. So the first name is refers to the genus, that is the genus, and this is the species name. Okay, so Brassica campestris. The first letter will first word will be with capital letter and second word with small letter. Just suppose Rana tigrina for frog. So the frog is the common name. Okay, frog is the common name, but the scientific name of frog is Rana tigrina. Similarly, Homo sapiens for human. Human is the common name, and the scientific name for human is Homo sapiens. Okay, अगर book में लिखे हुए तो please do not consider that it is a typing error. Okay, Fatma Abdul Karim, it is a typing error or it's a by mistake. So please do not consider that one. Okay. Now look at here. So scientific names are written in italic. Okay, the second most important thing after the capital and small letter is that when you are going to write scientific name, so it must be in italic form. Okay, either you should italic it, or if you are not writing it in italic form, italic means like in a tilted way. Okay, so you must have been underlined. Okay, and you must have underlined the given scientific name. That is must. Okay, if you are writing your scientific name just like the simple one, just suppose you are writing this in this format, in the format of human, so obviously it will be get no marks. Q. because your scientific must be in italic form. If it is not in italic form, so you must underline it. Okay. Now after this, Robert Whittaker's system of classification. Okay, if we've talked about the classification, how they will classify the living organism. So basically, if we talk about previously before the Robert Whittaker, the previously living thing was classified into two groups. Okay, into two kingdoms, into two major kingdoms. Number one is plant kingdom, and the second one is animal kingdom. So if we talk about the plant kingdom, so in plant kingdom, only those living organisms will be placed that have chlorophyll and that have cell wall. Okay, and they can make their food by themselves, so those will be considered as the plant. And all the living organisms that do not have cell wall and that do not have chlorophyll and that do not make their own food, so they will be placed in the kingdom Animalia. Previously, living things were classified into two major groups, that is kingdom plant and kingdom animal. But after Rupert Whittaker's, he proposed five kingdoms of living organisms. Okay, he proposed five kingdoms of living organisms. Why? Because some of the living organisms do not fit in kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. That's why he proposed five kingdoms of living organisms. Now let's check it out. What are those kingdoms? Number one is Kingdom Monera. Okay, Kingdom Monera. So first of all, he made a group kingdom that is with the name Kingdom Monera, and in this group he placed all the living organism that have one cell, means unicellular. Okay, it is the most ancient form of life, earliest form of life, and one celled organism. One cell means all the unicellular organisms are in Kingdom Monera, but without a nucleus. Without a nucleus means they are prokaryotic. Prokaryotic means they do not have a complete nucleus. Okay, you know, inside the cell there is a nucleus. But if we talk about the earliest form of cell, earliest time period cell, so in the earliest time period there is no proper nucleus. So all those living organisms that do not have nucleus, they are called prokaryotes. So Kingdom Monera, in the Kingdom Monera, all the prokaryotic living organisms are present, and they can be feed by a variety of different methods. But means their mode of nutrition, how can they feed, how they can eat their food, so by different methods. Means some of them can make their own food, some of them cannot, some of them rely on other living organisms for their food. So this type of living organism placed in Kingdom Monera by Robert Whittaker's. Then you have Kingdom Protista. Okay, Kingdom Protista. In Kingdom Protista, he placed all the unicellular organisms with a nucleus. Okay, you have two types of unicellular organisms. Some of them have nucleus and some of them do not have nucleus. So the living or unicellular living organisms that do not have nucleus, they are in Kingdom Monera, and the unicellular organism with a nucleus that are called eukaryotes, they are in Kingdom Protista, according by Robert Whittaker. And again, they can be feed by a variety of different methods. Okay. Now next is Kingdom Fungi. Okay, Kingdom Fungi. If we talk about Kingdom Fungi, so in Kingdom Fungi, he placed all the multicellular organisms with a nucleus. Now, after unicellular organism, move on to the multicellular organisms. So the multicellular organisms with a nucleus, he placed them in a Kingdom Fungi, but they cannot make their own food. Okay, these are the multicellular organisms that have nucleus, but they cannot make their own food, and they feed heterotrophically by absorption. Heterotrophically means they reply. What are heterotroph? Those organisms that cannot make their own food, they are called heterotroph. So if they feed heterotrophically by absorption, means they will absorb the food inside its body with the help of their cell membranes. Okay, so all those living organisms that are multicellular, that have nucleus, but they cannot make their own food, they placed inside the Kingdom Fungi. The fourth group is Kingdom Plantae, and in them Kingdom Plantae, he placed all the complex multicellular organisms. Okay, complex multicellular organism. Multicellular, you know, organism that are made up of more than one cell. So he placed all the multicellular organisms that are called eukaryotes in kingdom Plantae. But what is the difference between kingdom Plantae and kingdom Fungi is that the organisms that are placed in kingdom Plantae, they can make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so all the plants, or plants can make their own food by the help of photosynthesis. So all the living organisms that can make their food through the process of photosynthesis are placed in a group that is called kingdom Plantae. Okay. Next is kingdom Animalia, the last group. And in this group, he placed all the complex organisms that are eukaryotes, means they have a nucleus, but they cannot make their own food. They cannot make their own food. That's like us, human beings, cat, dogs, frogs, tigers, snake, everyone, cats, sparrows, sparrow. So these they cannot make their own food, but they feed heterotrophically by ingestion. Means we will eat our food with the help of our mouth. First we take out our food and then we will digest it. So this is called ingestion. First we will take our food into our mouth and then we will digest it in our body with the help of different processes. So this is called ingestion. Okay, so heterotrophs are those that cannot make their own food. So obviously we are heterotrophs because we cannot make their own food. We rely on other living organisms. Okay. So, but basically, there are some drawbacks and there are some errors in this system. So that's why Margulis and Shivers, they proposed another system. Basically, this is a modification suggested by Margulis and Shivers. And Whitaker's scheme was that they proposed the five kingdoms of organisms. Okay, basically they proposed the modification of Whitaker's scheme, and they classified the world's ecologic distribution into five separate entities. Means basically they just modify the living organism, modify the classification that was proposed by Whitaker due to some drawbacks. So according to the new system, this is a new system of classification that was presented by Margulis and Shivers. So according to this new scheme, first he made the kingdom Prokaryota. Okay, kingdom Prokaryota. So in it includes all the prokaryotes, example bacteria and cyanobacteria. Prokaryotes means there is no discrimination that there are some unicellular prokaryotes, there are some multicellular. So he placed all the unicellular and multicellular prokaryotes in kingdom Prokaryota, and prokaryotes are those that do not have a nucleus. So all the living cells, whether they are multicellular, whether they are unicellular, they place inside the kingdom Prokaryota, and the examples are bacteria and cyanobacteria. Then kingdom Protoctista. Second kingdom is kingdom Protoctista, and it includes all the eukaryotic organism. Eukaryotic means that have complete nucleus. Okay, which are no longer classified as animals, plants, or fungi. Just suppose if you talk about Euglena, Paramecium, Chlamydomonas, yeast, you cannot say that they are plants, they are animals, they are fungi, because they have some characters of plants, some characters of animals, some characters of fungi. So you cannot differentiate them into these classes. So all those living organisms that are eukaryote but they cannot classify it as animals, plants, or animals, for them they made, Margulis and Shivers made a separate kingdom with the name kingdom Protoctista. Okay. Then you have kingdom fungi. So if you talk about kingdom fungi, it includes non-chlorophyllous. Okay, non-chlorophyllous means they do not have chlorophyll inside their cell, but they are multicellular, they are eukaryotic, and they have cell wall. The most important thing is that what is the difference between plants and fungi? Plants have cell wall as well as chlorophyll, but if you talk about fungi have only cell wall but they do not have chlorophyll. That's why for all this type of living organisms they made a separate kingdom with the name kingdom fungi, and the example is agaricus mushroom. Okay. Now, next kingdom is kingdom Plantae. It includes all the chlorophyllous, multicellular, eukaryotic. Chlorophyllous means they have chlorophyll, means they can make their food by the help of photosynthesis. Multicellular means they are comprising of more than one cell. Eukaryotic living organism means they have complete nucleus having cell wall. Okay, they have chlorophyll as well as cell wall and embryonic development. So this type of living organism placed in the kingdom Plantae, and the examples here are apple and sunflower. Okay, so what is the difference between fungi and algae? Fungi and Plantae, in fungi they all are non-chlorophyllous, whereas Plantae have chlorophyll, means they can make their own food, while fungi cannot make their own food. This is the main difference between fungi and Plantae. Now, the last kingdom is kingdom Animalia, from which we belong. That includes all the non-chlorophyllous, means we do not have chlorophyll, but we are multicellular, means we are comprising of more than one cell. Eukaryotic means we have complete nucleus, but we have no cell wall. So why we are different from plants? Because we do not have chlorophyll as well as we do not have cell wall. That's why our kingdom is different from the plant. And the example is, hydra, earthworm, mint. So these are all the animals, or these are all the living organism that belongs to kingdom Animalia. So students, basically this is the end of the lecture. Okay, so this is the end of the lecture. I'm going to end my lecture here, but what you have to do, you have to open your book, open your biology book, and please mark this important points in your book. Okay, come, hurry up right now. Take out your books. Please take out your books. Take out your books and highlight this important points in your book. And please tell me, are you doing this or not? Please tell me. 1 minute. Are you listening me? Okay, Hafsa got full marks. Very good, Hafsa. Okay, now class, I want to tell you one thing here. Okay, now look at here. These are the important points here. You need to know taxis is arrangement. Taxis means arrangement and nomos means law. Okay, please keep this point in your mind. Okay, then there are some important points as well. And species, similar species group together into genera, genera into family, family into order, and order into class, class into phyla. Please keep this thing in your, and this para is very important. Okay, this para is very important. Means the name of the species may be given on the basis of what? On the basis of their locality, character of plant, religious belief, scientific, and then if you talk about Ficus bengalensis, so it is a banyan tree and name after the locality. If you talk about Ficus religious, so it is a people tree and it is named after religious belief. If you talk about Ficus elastica, that is a rubber plant and it's a name after that latex is extracted, means it is a character of the plant that it have a flexibility. Ficus erica, name after Eric, a person. So please learn this box as well. Okay, then this is important, and that's this one. And when you have done, please tell me that you have done, then I will move on to the next slide. Okay, done. Okay, Fatma says done, Roha says done, Bisma, Rumesa says no, miss, wait. Okay, Rumesa, I'm waiting. It's okay, bete. It's okay. I am giving you a time. So please do not get confused. Okay, Hafsa says done. Okay, Abdul Rahman says done. Okay, Rumesa, what about you? Rumesa, have you done? Okay, now move on to the next one. Now this one. Okay, now this is very important, students. Please keep it in your mind. You have to learn each thing. That mustard, broncho kingdom, plantae, division is Trachyophyta, class is Dicotyledonary, order is Capitals, family is Brassicaceae. So please learn all these things. Okay. The phylum of frog is Chordata. The class of frog is Amphibia. The class of man is Mammalia. Okay. This is important. Then you should know previously living things were classified into two kingdoms, namely plant kingdom and animal kingdom. The basis of the division was the presence or absence of cell wall and chlorophyll. So this is very important para. Then according to new system, there are five kingdoms. Previously we have two kingdoms and now we have five kingdoms. And this was the kingdom that was by takers, and this is the new kingdom by Margulis and Shivers. Okay, so what do you have to learn in this? Now listen to me. What I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you this thing that prokaryotes which feed by a variety of different methods. So from where they belong to Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae. So you have to identify according to their characteristics. Okay, I'm going to give you these characteristics, and you have to identify the specific or respective kingdom. Then, and when you have done, please write it down in the chat box. Till then, I'm going to take what attendance. So I'm done with your attendance. So have you done? Okay, Fatma says done, Bisma done, Roha done. What about Rumasa and what about others? Manahil, very good. Okay, now move on to the next one. Okay, Ramasa. Okay, Ramasa. Then now move your next one. The last one. Okay, this is page number 71. This is your page number 71. And the very important thing is that this one, taxes is equal to arrangement Nomos law. And this thing, the each grouping of organism within the hierarchy is called a taxon. Okay, taxon, and the plural of taxon is taxa. Okay, so this is important. Summary, you have to read the summary, whole summary as well, whole summary. अभी तो मैंने शो किया था, आपने डन कर दिया. Very good. Okay, then last one. Very good. Okay, now the last one. Okay, now quickly give the answers of these questions. Hurry up. Number one, fill in the blanks. Scientific study that deals with the classification of organisms is called dash, and Sania and Zishan. Please reply. Sania and Zishan. Please write down the answer of this, while others can also reply. Zishan and Sania. Please reply. Okay, Fatma, Anita, Rumesa, Fatma, Roha, all of you are right. Fatma, you are right. Where is Zishan and Anita? Sorry, Zishan and Sania. Okay, Ali Rao, you are right. Zishan and Sania, you know your class participation is must. Okay, now move on to the next one. Dash. Now tell me the answer of number two. Tell me the answer of number two. And my question, this is from Bisma and Abdullah Alam. Bisma and Abdullah Alam. Bismillah and Abdullah Alam, please reply, bete. We are running out of time. Okay, Abdul Rahman, you are right. Fatma, you are right. Okay, where is Bisma and Abdullah Alam? Where is Bisma and Abdullah Alam? Where is Bismillah and Abdullah Alam? Hmm? Why you are not replying, Vijay? Okay, Anita, you are right. So the correct answer is C. Linnaeus gave scientific name to each species comprising of two words. Okay, Fatma, you are right. Now give the answer of this. Closely related families are grouped together into what? Closely related families are grouped together into what? Okay, okay. And this is my question for again. Okay, where is Zania? Sorry, Sania. Rishan, you are not replying. Okay, where is Hafsa? Hafsa, please reply. Why genre, bete? Closely related families are grouped together into genre. No. Yes, Fatma. Okay, now I'm going to explain this. Please look at here. Beta, I am going to explain this one. Look at here. Look at here what you have here. Genre into families, families into order. Okay, families into closely related families into order. So the order is the right answer. Okay, now give the answer of this one. Dash includes non-chlorophyllous multicellular eukaryotic organisms having cell wall. Now tell me which one is this? Which kingdom is this? No, Rumesa. Which kingdom is this? Number 4. Which kingdom is this, Bete? Very good, Fatma Abdul Kareem. Very good. Bisma, very good. Very good, Bisma. Sania is still not replying. Abdul Rahman, good. Right answer. Fatma Shahid, Roha, good. Fatma Shahid, good. Okay, so the correct answer is kingdom fungi. Now move on to the last one. Dash includes all the eukaryotic organisms which are no longer classified as plants, animals, plants, or fungi. What are they? Okay, Bisma, it's okay. Now please tell me the answer of number 5. Please class, it's hurry up. Very good. So the correct answer is kingdom Protoctista. Okay, the correct answer is kingdom Protoctista. So that's the end of the lecture. If you want to ask anything, please ask. If you have any question, please ask. Yes, Bisma, you are right. And at the end, I want to say thank you so much for being with me. Thanks a lot.